Hello and welcome everyone to another StarCraft 2 England cast. Today I've got game 1 of a best of 3. It's from the IPL 5 Korean Qualifiers and it is between IMMvp, who is the red Terran player in the lower right, and Lucky is the blue Zerg in the top right. The map is in Tomb Valley. What does that mean? Well, it basically means that Lucky can get a relatively easy natural, but so actually can MVP. This isn't too hard to hold this position, a bunker. Go somewhere here-ish in the middle. You can also get supply depot wall-offs. The transition to the third is a bit awkward actually for Lucky because these rocks are here. Yes, you can go around and get a third, but you have to take these rocks out if you want to defend adequately. Otherwise, just the time it takes to come and defend around the front just can be too long. You can get tanks up on the high ground. You can just have a nightmare. Obviously, MVP, he can take his third really easily. He can build the command center here, float it down. Marines can take this down really quick, so that is not a problem in the slightest there. So that's really essentially to the mid game. We did have Lucky going for an 11 of 10 build, but he does have the Overlord there, so that is basically just because he went to 10 drones, then built the Overlord, and then obviously when Extractor got the 11th drone, cancelled it to get the drone back. So we do have this drone coming over. We've got a fairly standard opening here out of MVP, no command center first. Getting this barracks is really standard. One rack's command center is getting ever more increasing. This is what I actually expect MVP to do unless he's going for something a bit more aggressive. Purely because most Zerg players will go 15 hatch, 16 pooled. And as a Terran, you've just got to sit there and think, well, if they're expanding anyway, why don't I just expand as well? They can't put on pressure if they're going for that 15 hatch. It also then means that the Zerg player either has to come and try and kill you, or deal a lot of damage, or take a third base, because the Zerg player cannot last economically being on equal bases as the opponent. But there's the 15 hatch out of Lucky. I expect to see, well, 2 more drones, exactly as I thought, up to 16, and now we should see the pool go down. I almost guarantee we're going to see a command center out of MVP because he's banking up around that 300 mineral mark, so he will straight away go for the orbital once this command center finishes, and then I expect to see that he'll go for that command center. There goes the orbital. We go up to 300 minerals, then move an SCV down. Here comes the SCV already there, and that's basically to get the 1 Rax command center as expected. We do have the pull down and gas as well coming out for Lucky here. Basically this gas, depending on how many drones he puts in, 3 drones means rushing to speed. If he then pulls a drone out, can be a baneling bust timing or something like that, but essentially I do believe that, let me just check this before I get this possibly wrong. No, it's not known that it's coming out, but basically this Extractor, by cancelling and rebuilding it, takes a couple of Marines to actually be able to knock it out. And all while you've got Marines attacking it, it means that this isn't going to be like 1 rack with a proxy rack somewhere. It's not an all-in, it's basically safe. You've got quite a lot of good information coming out as well from this. Looking back at Lucky's base, he's got that spawning pool just finished. His natural base has come up. We'll then see a double queen come out very shortly. There we go. Be interesting to see whether he stays on 2 queens or goes up to 3 or 4. Reason I personally think getting 1 or 2 creep spread queens is purely because you get that great creep spread which gives you early warning and also better defense. It also means you get transfuses later. You don't have to worry too much. Now, this is really interesting. This is going up to 4 racks. This is a lot of barracks coming out. Usually you do see a 1 rack's command center with 2 barracks following up, but 3 is huge, and that's because there's no gas. So we could see a lot of marine pressure come on here. And basically that is completely fine. A lot of marines will get pumped out now, and essentially all that Lucky needs to do is get a baneling nest. If anyone who keeps an eye on my channel, there is an Idra game I put up. I can't recall who he was playing against, but they pumped just so many marines, and all Idra needed to do was get a baneling nest and he would have been fine, but he didn't, and he ended up losing and rage quitting. But anyway, we do have 2 queens forward, just ready to deal with any Hellions. No more queens in production yet. That is the real key thing. If we did see some queens in production, it would be very telling, but I do believe these Zerglings are about, well, they're not going to be able to see what's come down, but he is aware that, well, from this Overlord that command center is down, which is a big tell. If we go back, Lucky is really just getting up some gas. He's getting up his 2nd gas now, splitting it equally. That's really nice. We do have on MVP's side a Tech Lab coming down. Both gas are down. We'll probably, well, Combat Shield, that's really interesting. The fact it's not Stim and it's Combat Shield coming down suggests that there's going to be a heavy Marine push. These Zerglings do get in though, and that's some really critical scouting information there for Lucky. I will expect to see him throw down that Baning Nest very, very shortly, because if I take a look, he sees what add-ons are there, he knows there's no other tech labs, and that's just really, really telling that there's going to be a lot of Marines and not much else, especially that early. The wall off is also really, really helpful. This supply depot just getting taken down to build up more space, but for the moment we'll just see Lucky pump more Zerglings. I'm really surprised he hasn't chucked down that Baning Nest. But we'll wait and see what he does. A couple of Marauders coming out, that's going to be very, very helpful, just to deal some extra damage to buildings, and I'm just really interested to see how Lucky tries to hold this, and if he's going to be able to, because MVP is going to have a lot of units that are really, really quick, and once these Marine numbers start getting really high, you can't actually engage effectively with just Zerglings, because you physically can't get enough surround, and that ball of Marines deals so much damage, and it's just, well, ridiculously hard. And all of these Zerglings are unfortunately probably going to engage very cost ineffectively, but he needs to pump all those Zerglings. But if he just had a couple of Banelings, he'd be fine. So this is all really, really strange. Again, this is where the creep spread comes in fantastically. If there was 2 extra queens, or even 1, and the creep spread was, say, down to this point, which it would be by about 8 minutes, if not slightly further, then the Banelings move faster, so you get better connects. But we do have MVP getting ready to move out right now, and this, while it isn't a huge force, it's gonna be quite difficult for Lucky to take out. But here comes this Baning Nest now. He is gonna see from this Overlord exactly what is coming at him, and he needs to react very, very promptly. He's pumping 14 more Zerglings out. We've got a Starport coming out behind this, so this is really interesting. It's gonna be from Medevacs, the 3rd command center coming out, and basically MVP is favouring that Marine Marauder and Medevac type build. One Zergling goes down there, and essentially what Lucky needs is an absolutely optimum point of attack. He needs to get a great surround. He doesn't want this force getting into any chokes, such as by these rocks. That'd be a huge, huge problem, because then there'd even be less surface area for the Zerglings to attack. But the Baneling Nest is nearly done. That's what's really, really key. MVP came out to check for the 3rd. That 3rd base would have been critical. In come the Zerglings now. Combat choke is done, and they have actually got quite a good surface area there. The Marines aren't quite in a perfect ball, and that will get cleaned up very, very easily now. Obviously, the key thing, why that works so well, is the Marines were spread out, and it's all about surface area. If you keep them balled, then the Zerglings can't attack many Marines at once, but all the Marines can attack at once. So that's really the aim. But now, wow, holy Baneling, that is a lot of Banelings right there. 46 for anyone who can't read, but 46 Banelings are going to just plow through this now. Frankly, I don't think there's anything MVP can do. He's trying to bring those SCVs into repair, but there's just going to be too much damage. Just look at those racks melt. So many SCVs get taken out. Those are GG. And that was a nice defense by Lucky. So go to my channel, check out Game 2. I'll try and remember to put a link in the comments. If not, there will definitely be a link to the playlist, and all the games will be in there. So do check that out, Game 2. See you in a second.